Not all spiritualists are witches, but all witches are spiritual. So you need to understand that there's a difference between spirituality and witchcraft, although in a lot of ways they intersect. Spirituality is more about a connection to the divine, but witchcraft is the intentional practice of magic, the intentional practice of manifestation, of creation, creating outcomes. And this is not to say that spirituality is not intentional, but witchcraft is solution based in that it is geared towards results. A witch has an intention. She knows what herbs to use. She knows what potions to make. She knows what exactly to do to bring about her desired outcome. So witchcraft is intentional creation, while a spiritualist is most likely just interested in alignment, aligning with the higher self, gaining spiritual insights, gaining a deeper understanding of themselves and the world. Not necessarily geared at a specific intention, but having the belief that by aligning themselves with their highest self, everything that they need materialize or manifest for them. So all witches are spiritual, but not all spiritualists are witches. Now, there are areas where witchcraft and spirituality intersect, both in the practices and in its manifestations. For example, divination. Both witches and spiritualists connect to their psychic gifts. They make use of their psychic gifts to connect to the unseen realms. Both witches and spiritualists can use tools like tarot cards, clairvoyance, and other forms of psychic reception or other psychic methods and abilities. Also, both witches and spiritualists could do those rituals. A spiritualist could also do a ritual as much as a witch can do a ritual. Because like I said, they all have the same similar connection to the divine. They make use of their intuition and they have an understanding of the power in nature. Now, it is important to note that witchcraft or magic is not inherently bad. It is just a tool like any other and can be used to perpetuate the will of the wielder. Now, whether magic is used for good or is used for evil is solely dependent on the practitioner, not that the power or the ability in itself is evil. And so it's very laughable to see some people demonize witchcraft or magic, because these people who do so have their own form of spirituality as well, just that they call it different names and it looks so different. And so anything that doesn't look like what they used to or what they know is eventually demonized. And I see this as a way for these organizations to preserve their monopoly over spirituality, to monopolize connection to the divine. Because tell me why a Christian would go to church, would pray, would sing songs, would swear their allegiance to a God who they believe was a man who walked the earth and died but resurrected after 3 days. But then they would demonize another person for speaking affirmations, using tarot cards, using crystals. Like it's almost the same thing. It's actually it's very similar. They are very similar things, because at the core of it is a need to connect to the divine. So both the Christian and the spiritualist have that one common goal, to connect to the divine, to connect to God. But then each person has their own tools or their own symbols, their own totems through which they express that connection, or through which they achieve that intention of connection. The Christian has the Bible, he has his anointing oil, he has the crucifix. He believes in symbols like eating the blood and drinking the flesh, resurrection after 3 days, crucifixion, and whatever else they believe in. But the spiritualist makes use of tarot cards, makes use of crystals, makes use of cleansing herbs for smudging, and believes in things like the universe, alchemy, law of attraction, the law of polarity, the law of divine oneness. You can see that at the core of it, we're all talking about the same thing, or we're all after the same goal. We just have different ways of expressing that goal, or different ways of reaching that goal, different ways of expressing our intention to achieve that goal. Which is why I wonder why there is so much division. And actually, there is a lot of division in religious circles because people are more ego based, more ego led than spirit led. So people are trying to satisfy their ego, they're trying to put themselves ahead of other people to believe that they're superior to other people because of their beliefs. They're trying to make themselves feel good for choosing this belief system amongst others, or rather above others. So they're no longer after the goal of spirit, but after the goal of the flesh.